Sorry about that. And Maya, we can hear your lovely piano. No, I've got it. Yeah.
I'm gonna silence.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get the microphone over my computer so that you can hear the sanctuary. We need one more microphone in the sanctuary to make this work. Okay, there we go. Sorry for all the technological glitches this morning, but here we are. So I want to start out by telling you a little story about this person went in for a job interview, and the hiring official asked the job applicant, "And what starting salary were you looking for?" And the applicant said, "Oh, in the neighborhood of 125,000 a year, depending on the benefits package." And the interviewer said, "Well, what would you say to a package of 5 weeks vacation, 14 paid holidays, company matching retirement fund to 50% of the salary, and a company's car leased every 2 years, let's say a red Tesla?" And the interviewee sat up straight, really energized, and he said, "Wow, are you kidding?" And the interviewer said, "Yes, but you started it." So today's message, expectations and returns, will support you in being blessed as you practice the gentle art of blessing. So the human condition that today's message addresses is that idea that withholding blessing from someone is only about withholding the blessing from them. And the spiritual solution is realizing that blessing others blesses us. And so I have an affirmation. I invite you, I'll say it once and then I invite you to say it aloud. And if you're on Zoom, make sure you mute so we don't get all that static. And the affirmation is, I am blessed as I bless. Together, I am blessed as I bless. And one more time, I am blessed as I bless. So what's in it for you to bless others, right? We already know it blesses you. And also when we bless others, it does a lot for us in terms of being very different than withholding our blessing or condemning them, right? So it's relief from suffering, it's increased fulfillment, harmony, peace of mind, poise, joy, happiness. So I think we could all probably agree that that's enough, enough incentive to do it. So a very dear friend of mine who was a Unity minister, his name was Mary Omwake. And Mary talked about the fact that when she went to her first Unity church, she had some challenges going on in her life, and she asked for a private session with the minister. And so she just poured her heart out and told the minister all her problems, all this terrible stuff people were doing to her, everything. And when she finished, the minister said, "Mary, no one is undeserving of your love." And she said, "And I had facts." Well, don't we all? We all have facts about those people, right? But the truth is, there are no exceptions. No one is undeserving of our love. No one is undeserving of our blessing, no matter how many facts we have about them. So withholding love or blessing from anyone really deprives us, because we can only receive love and blessing to the extent we give love and blessing. So Jesus said it well, given, it will be given to you. It reminds me of something I read years ago in one of our foundational Unity books, The Quest. And it tells the story of when a sad child has a favorite stuffed animal, and when they hug it, what? they feel better, right? They're sad, they hug the teddy bear, they feel better. Now, is it because the teddy bear loved the child? No. The teddy bear is just a heap of fiber and thread and button eyes, right? But the stuffed animal contains no love, but the child does. And as the child hugs and cuddles the stuffed animal, love, the essential truth of that child's being, is expressed as the child feels the warmth of love. And that's what makes the child feel better, expressing love. So instead of us waiting for somebody to love us or bless us, we need to love and bless. Another story from the companion guide to the quest, called Adventures on the Quest, says that the degree, it's talking about a love quotient. You've heard of IQ, intelligence quotients? Well, this is talking about love quotient. And it says the degree to which you can let your love flow unconditionally in all directions is the automatic built-in gauge of how you are letting God express in your life. And your love quotient is never higher, take a deep breath, than the least amount of love you give to some person, no matter how much you're loving other people. That one person you're withholding love is affecting your love quotient. So your love quotient is never higher than the least amount of love you give to some person, no matter how much you are loving other people. So let's look at, my talk title is Expectations and Returns. So let's focus on expectations. You know, I heard somebody say, I recently read the book, Great Expectations. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be. So in 12-step rooms, we define expectations as premeditated resentments. So if I expect you to act in a certain way and you don't, then I feel resentment towards you. Can you relate to that? You know, we expect something, we expect a gift, we expect a greeting for our birthday, we expect something, we don't get it, and then we resent. So that's why 12-step rooms we call expectations built in or premeditated resentments. But in the book, The Gentle Art of Blessing, which I'm focusing on for these 4 weeks, it's talking about expectations from a different angle. The angle of what it calls the law of positive expectation. So the law of positive expectation isn't about expecting someone else to act in a certain way. It's about knowing, and I like to say knowing with a capital K-N-O-W. In the Middle Eastern sense of the term, to know something is to know it with every cell and atom of your body, your heart, your soul, your mind. So it's about knowing the truth of your and others' inherent goodness and calling it forth silently. So this is how I bless you. I bless you by seeing beyond the appearances of your behavior, of whatever you're doing, and to the truth of you, the Christ in you, the divine in you, your Buddha nature. So that's what I see beyond the veil of our humanity, right? And when I bless you, I'm calling that forth in you into expression. So when I bless you in this way, I'm not expecting anything from you, but I am simply knowing the truth of you that you may have forgotten. So when we can behold that, people feel it. When we can behold that divine in them, beyond the veil of the human, then they act differently, they behave differently, because they're being honored and not condemned. And we do that because it is the Christ within them. We do it unconditionally. We don't expect anything back from them. We don't expect them to bless us. If they do, that's icing on the cake. That's great. We do it without expectation of anything in return. And you do get something in return regardless of what they do, and that is you feel good about yourself. I used to tell my stepson when his mother did things, I said, just love her. And, so you can look yourself in the mirror and feel good about yourself. Dr. Milton Erickson said that the law of expectation doesn't play favorites. So it doesn't matter if you're expecting negative or positive things to happen, the law of expectation stays true. And how many times don't you do it? I do it. I wish I could say I didn't. But, we expect a person to act in a certain way. And guess what? They do, because that's what we're expecting of them. But what if we could expect them to act from their Christ self? What if we could call forth that Christ in them? Then that's what we would receive. And you can't cheat the law of expectation by just wishing an expectation like, I expect to win the lottery, right? That's a wish. That's not a real positive expectation. And so this law of positive expectation is absolutely in alignment with what unity teaches. And it's our unity principle that we call the law of mind action. That thoughts held, that's a very important word, held in mind produce after their kind. Not fleeting thoughts, but the thoughts that are held in mind so deeply that we know they're true. So our mind, science has shown, is hardwired to our bodies. Our thoughts produce chemicals in our body as a result of whatever thoughts we're thinking. So can you see how holding negative thoughts harms you and me? And when we hold positive thoughts, the chemicals in our body feel that, and we're blessed by it. So if we think sad thoughts, we experience sadness. If we think happy thoughts, we experience happiness. It's as simple as that. And I always have to put my caveat in there. That doesn't mean you don't ever feel sadness. You don't take a spiritual bypass. If you're sad about something, you embrace that sadness. And my experience, if I am just present to that, if I find where it is in the body and I breathe into it, that it transforms of its own because it's had a chance to be acknowledged. It's not stuffed as a sankhara that's going to show up somewhere when we don't want it to. A sankhara is my teacher Shinzen Young calls it undigested karma. And another teacher, Goenka, says it's gross solidified sensations. It's those sensations, emotional sensations that we stuff. And they literally are stuffed in our body. So we want to acknowledge and feel our feelings, even if they're negative, but we don't want to set up camp in them. We don't want to build a condo in these feelings. We want to honor them so that they can pass and they can dissolve. So positive thoughts create positive outcomes, negative thoughts create negative outcomes. And so we're our own fortune tellers. Whatever we expect becomes our reality. When you talk about what may happen, when you're imagining or believing it with confidence, held in mind with confidence, then you're defining your future. And so we have to act as if, even before we see things in the outer. So a real expectation is tied to your belief system. The law of expectation states, whatever you expect with confidence becomes your own self-fulfilling prophecy. What you get in life isn't necessarily what you want in life, it's what you expect. I mean, how many times have you prayed with a prayer chaplain or somebody, or you've asked someone for prayer because you're sick, right? And so you ask for prayers of wholeness and healing. And then the rest of the day, you tell everybody that you run into how sick you are. Guess which one you're holding in mind? Guess which one you really are believing is that you're sick? But can you say, despite appearances to the contrary, I am healthy, whole, and well, because the Christ of you is. Your divine nature has never been sick, has never held a resentment against anyone, has never been under the surgeon's knife or taken a pill. So when you say, I am healthy, whole, and well, you're not lying. You're telling the truth. I am. I am that I am, right? I am whole, healthy, and well, regardless of what may be manifesting in my body. Jesus said it this way, so I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Don't go around telling everybody the opposite. So the expectation of good opens us to receive it. And the more we open our mind to good, the more good we receive. The infinite abundance of the universe is invisible substance. You know what substance is? What we stand on. Invisible substance that expresses itself in whatever form we need. And I like to say that faith forms substance. So what am I having faith in that is taking this invisible substance and forming it into my highest good? Returns. So we've got expectations, we've got returns. So the law of right return is also known as cause and effect, karma. What goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. Thoughts are like boomerangs. They return to us with increased negative or positive energy. And for those of you who were in class Sunday night, Wednesday night, I'll say it again. Do you know what they call boomerangs that don't come back? Sticks. Okay, I'm really on a roll with jokes today. Okay, so bless others and you will be blessed. Just in the act of blessing, you are blessed with all those positive chemicals. You're sending out an energy of positivity, and that's what you're going to attract. So it's very true that we're not punished for our sins. This is what we believe in unity. We are not punished for our sins, but by them. So when we do something negative, the punishment comes back to us, right? Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda said, if you radiate love and goodwill to others, you will open the channel of God's love to come to you. Through meditation and service, I would call that love and blessing, to mankind, you will develop divine love, the magnet that draws to you all good. So we don't bless in order to attract good into our lives. That's just what happens. But it happens because as we give, we receive. And it's one of those we call in unity divine paradox. Divine paradox. I always like to think of a pair of ducks to remind me of the divine paradoxes. As we give, we receive. So take a moment and recall people with whom you've had difficulties or whom you currently have difficulties. And just imagine that they're all gathered together with one aim in mind, to bless you. How would that feel if they just blessed you? So maybe they don't have that level of spiritual practice, but you're in unity. So do it, just do it. We have that chance to bless those people who are difficult, those situations. So if this would bring you joy and ease, if they blessed you, then take the lead. Don't, You know, whenever I do weddings, I always say James Dillett Freeman's Blessing on a Marriage, and part of it says, when you have arguments, both of you be the first one to step back, right? Well, we have a chance, even if somebody is condemning us, persecuting us, doing whatever, we can be the one that takes the higher road. We can be the one to reverse the energy by blessing them. So we could sing, "Let blessing begin with me," like we do with the peace song, right? So a number of years ago, I was having a really hard time dealing with the situation, and I was judging other people as being wrong, you know, because I had facts, right? And that morning I was really agitated. I used to have a meditation hut. It was a tough shed. I don't know if you have those in Canada, but I had a tough shed. It had 2 windows. I had it carpeted. I had it insulated. I had electricity run to it, so I had a heater and a fan. It was a wonderful sacred space. And so I went into my hut and I thought, well, I think I'll just pick up this book of Deepak Chopra's. I can't remember which one it was, but in this particular book, he had a lot of scriptures, and he suggested, you know, meditating on those scriptures, maybe Lectio Divino for those of us who have experience in that tradition. So I opened the book and I decided I'm just going to do the first one that's there, right? Oh, shoot. It was, "God is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful and compassionate just as God is merciful." And I thought, that's not what I'm going to hear. You know, I don't feel like being merciful to these people. I'm upset with them, but I guess I'll give it a try. And so I asked myself, what would it look like if I were merciful and compassionate to these people? And in that moment, I knew what to say and how to say it, and when to keep my mouth shut. And so I actually, later that day, I called one of them and I asked to get together, and I just listened to them tell me what they were being critical and to give me more details because I didn't have the whole story. And it just improved our relationship amazingly because I was willing to be compassionate and merciful and be willing to listen to somebody's feedback that I didn't want to hear before I put myself in that situation and opened myself. So we can't change people, but we can change ourselves. And then that changes what they're reacting to, okay? So even though we can't change other people, when we change how we behave towards them, they have something different to respond to. And people feel the blessing of our consciousness, and we can choose to be a non-anxious, healing presence, radiating the energy of unconditional love and acceptance. And I know that all of you have probably felt the presence of a person who said nothing, but exuded either a wonderful or a terribly unpleasant energy, right? Those of you who are around in the 60s, giving my age away, we called it vibes. And we would say, you know, I get really good vibes from that person, you know, or I get really bad vibes. Well, it's true. You know, we give out vibes, and so do other people. So if you are on the receiving end of negative vibes, counter it with positive vibes and see what happens. I have another story, and that is for those of you who may not be familiar with the 12 steps, there's 12 steps in the recovery programs. And the 9th step is where we make amends to people who we have harmed. So 20 years after our divorce, my husband was driving through New Mexico on a cross-country trip, and he contacted me. So I invited him to come up to Santa Fe. And the first thing he said when he saw me was, "I knew you had earned your master's degree in counseling and that you were an ordained Unity minister. But What I'm curious about was what changed in you that caused you to write that letter to me a number of years ago. Well, it had been my amends letter. And in an amends letter in 12-step rooms, you take responsibility for your part. You don't talk about the other person's part. You just take responsibility and you make amends for your part. So I did that. I made amends for my part in our irreconcilable differences. And then he apologized for not responding to the letter. And I said, there was no apology expected. See, I didn't have a premeditated resentment. I didn't expect him to accept my apology or respond in any way. I said, I wrote the letter to clean my side of the street. And he said that regardless of that, common decency called for a response. And then he went on and he made amends for his part in our irreconcilable differences. Now, how wonderful to have not had that expectation, but then to receive it. It was fabulous. And we're still in touch. We're friends on Facebook, and I just, it was a wonderful experience. So I believe that making amends is a great example of being blessed by blessing another, even though it's not supposed to be the motive, and it's not the motive. I was simply doing the next right thing. And as a result, I experienced the promises that are in AA, and that's a whole nother sermon. So, I love being in recovery. I love working the 12 steps, and I think everybody should be in some kind of program because we are all addicted to something. And if you think you're not addicted to anything, think about control. How much you try to control circumstances, people, whatever. There's actually a book about that by Rami Shapiro that is about our addiction to control. Because working the 12 steps is life-changing. It's a wonderful, wonderful process. So other than that, how do you put feet on today's message? Well, I always say prayer and meditation, first and foremost. And in this case, it's metta, which is a Buddhist loving kindness, is a wonderful way to bless. And we talked about that some on Wednesday night, and I'm going to share one of those loving kindness blessings with you during our meditation. And so that reminds me, show up Wednesday, 5 p.m. in the sanctuary or on Zoom as we deep dive into today's message so you can share your stories. You heard so many of mine. Meanwhile, I celebrate that as a result of today's message, we choose to bless others, and we are open to receiving, being blessed in return. And let's begin doing that right now in a sacred time of shared prayer. So I invite you to straighten up and settle in. And if you remember from my mindfulness classes, to feel good. And if you weren't in the classes, all you have to do is smile. Just smile, no matter how small the smile, and be aware of those good chemical, positive chemicals going through your body. And then just begin breathing in your heart math style. Breathing in and out as if through your heart. And allow that focus on your heart and that smile to activate a feeling of love, a feeling tone of love. And while continuing to focus on the heart and have that smile on your face, I invite you to hear these words of a loving kindness blessing. and hear them as your words spoken through my voice. And we'll start with you. See yourself in your mind's eye and bless yourself praying. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be free from danger and ill will. May I be free from mental suffering. May I be free from physical suffering. May I be peaceful and content. May I have joy and happiness of being. And now pulling up the face of a loved one, bless this loved one by praying. May this loved one be filled with loving kindness. May this loved one be free from danger and ill will. May this loved one be free from mental suffering. May this loved one be free from physical suffering. May this loved one be peaceful and content. May this loved one have joy and happiness of being. And now move to a neutral person in your life, someone you may have seen at the store or on the bus, someone you saw walking down the street, someone you don't really know. And pulling up the face of a neutral person, bless this neutral person by praying. May this neutral person be filled with loving kindness. May this person be free from danger and ill will. May this person be free from mental suffering. May this person be free from physical suffering. May this person be peaceful and content. May this person have joy and happiness of being. And then move on to a person you find difficult. And pulling up the face of the person you find to be difficult, bless this person by praying. May this person be filled with loving kindness. May this person be free from danger and ill will. May this person be free from mental suffering. May this person be free of physical suffering. May this person be peaceful and content. May this person have joy and happiness of being. And finally, bless all creation by praying, may all beings and all creation be filled with loving kindness. May all beings and all creation be free from danger and ill will. May all beings and all creation be free from mental suffering. May all beings and all creation be free from physical suffering. May all beings and all creation be peaceful and content. May all beings and all creation have joy and happiness of being. As we rest together, radiating these good, positive feelings of loving kindness to all beings and all creation in the silence. And as we gently bring our attention back to this time and place, silently say, thank you, I am that I am, for the wisdom to bless others and to be blessed in return. Thank you, I am that I am. Thank you, thank you, thank you, that it is so, and so it is. Amen. So Maya, if you'd like to stop the recording, right? So I invite everyone